hedonic treadmill, which of course is a metaphor, running to get the feeling again and again and again. That's the problem. And that's a really painful thing that we have to come to terms with, that we can't just have more and suddenly be permanently satisfied. And it makes life feel like a real tyranny, but it gives you a whole lot of learning and growth if you have a real life strategy for how to deal with it in a balanced and abundant way.
And the same kind of struggle that we need is true for purpose, for sure, too, right?
For sure. The question that's almost a cliche, what's the meaning of life? And you go to the cave in the Himalayas and the guru's in there and you sit at his feet and say, Your Holiness, what's the meaning of life? There's a million jokes kind of around that. But the truth of the matter is that's a wrong question because it's too general. Philosophers, and even some psychologists that you and I are familiar with, have broken the meaning question into 3 parts. We call them coherence, purpose, and significance. So coherence is the question, why do things happen the way they do? The purpose question is, what am I trying to do with my life? What's the arc of my life? What's the goal of my life? And significance is, why does it matter that I'm alive? And you need answers to those questions. I've actually found that there's a kind of a 2-question diagnostic I can ask my students or anybody that they need answers to. If they don't have answers, then they have a meaning crisis. Question number 1, why are you alive? Question number 2, for what would you be willing to die today? And it's extraordinary how many people can't honestly answer that question to their own satisfaction. I mean, some people will give you answers that are plausible, but they don't actually believe them. And you see this with a lot of young adults, that one of the biggest problems that they have is they can't answer those questions, which is signaling, blinking lights on the 747 dashboard of happiness, of coherence, purpose, and significance, is they can't answer those 2 questions. Why am I alive? And for what am I willing to die? I remember with my own kids, I have adult kids, and it's super fun for them to, be the children of the social scientists, as you can imagine, because Dad's working on a book. He's asking a lot of questions.
You asking the 2 questions again, Dad?
Yeah, I know, for sure. But, my middle son, it was really hard for him. He was a cut up and, the most popular kid in high school, but he wasn't actually happy. And it was really a meaning crisis for him. And I remember asking those questions like, I don't know. And when it was time for him to go to college, this is where the rubber hits the road. This is where you can use this to help people you love. I said, you shouldn't go, and this is hard for me, I'm a college professor. You shouldn't go to college until you have some answers to these questions. How are you going to find the answers to these questions? And he thought about it and he said, he's a big kinetic boy. He's a big, hardworking, strong, handsome. He's 6'4". And he said, I want to go work with my hands by myself. And he became a dryland wheat farmer for 2 seasons. It's amazing. He was digging rocks out of the soil, building fences and cutting down trees and spending long days by himself. And then he joined the Marine Corps, which was a hard thing to do. And boy, they ever test you. And he became not just a Marine, he became a special